AU22UC.TV.
Good morning and welcome to day 2 of the Australian Under-22 Ultimate Championships. We're coming to you live on the Ultimate Australia live stream from Perth in Western Australia. My name is Max Stenstrom. I'm joined in the booth, as always, by Steph Ma. Steph, we've got the rematch of the men's final from 2017. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting some massive grabs. Both of these teams really want it. I think that both teams have been working really hard, and there's been a few roster changes, right, since the teams from last year. So it'll be really great to see the rookies come in and the first-year players, and then there's also that's balanced with the more experienced players. So that'll be really great to see how they can. That'll be really great to see how they can both match up against each other.
Certainly will be. The Queensland team will be starting on defence, and the Victorians will be on offence. Only a very light breeze this early part of the day. We expect it to pick up as we head into the afternoon, but right now it is perfect ultimate conditions. We know both of these teams love the long ball. That's all the scouting reports going around at the moment. Both teams love to shoot it, and it's a perfect opportunity to do so. Something that I'm really excited about seeing this game is how the Queensland team comes together. Most of this team hadn't played together until yesterday morning. There's a contingent from Townsville and a contingent from Brisbane. But this weekend is the first time that they've united as a single unit. And we'll see how they play some defence here.
Right, well, we've got Victoria on offence, looking pretty calm behind the disc, and they're just swinging it through the handlers, you know, waiting for a great shot. We've got Josh Lipari with the disc, shoots it long. Great way to begin the game. It's come off. Brought down by Bissett.
Tom Bissett, the captain of this Victorian team, leading from the front at the start of the game. You saw him at the centre position at the back as a handler to start that point, and then he ends up speeding down the other end of the field, getting himself a goal. Pretty emphatic start from Victoria, and what we expected in terms of that long ball strategy early in the game.
Definitely. Both teams are looking to really get some points up on the board straight away. And we got a score within 1 minute of the game. It really shows some tight offense. No room for mistakes in that play. Having a look at the replay again. Great take by Bissett in the end zone.
As you say, that was a beautiful throw down the line. Never more than 7 or 8 feet off the ground the whole way, and hits the target in stride, showing the throwing prowess that Victoria has across the roster. It's not just 1 or 2 players that they'll be looking to shoot. They've got that throwing skill deep into the roster, whereas Queensland maybe a little bit more concentrated through a couple of players. We expect to see that probably starting this point right now on offense. Players like Jonah Malenfant carrying a lot of that hucking burden, whereas we probably expect to see Victoria share that around a touch more. And we get Lean with the pull to get things started for the second point of the game. Queensland will play some offense in a split stack setup to get things moving. Perry and Malenfant, what a combination. Expect to see that. Malenfant goes long, big flick, it's going to float. Perry with the pace underneath it, in space, and he'll come down with it.
Great play, great play. And again, another really quick goal. Maybe we'll see this game finish in 40 minutes.
Look, if they keep up this pace, it certainly will.
Yeah.
I think so far we've seen 6 passes total for 2 goals, which is pretty impressive.
And no interceptions, no drops, all clean. Disc hasn't touched the ground.
It hasn't, and also, really, the defense hasn't had much of a look at it at all. I mean, you see there again, Perry, known for his pace, and he just generates separation, heading deep. Malenfant has that throw every day of the week and serves it up to him beautifully. So it is 1 apiece out of the gates.
Great. Max, who do you think's going to take this game? Who do you think wants it more?
It's early days, but if I had to put my money on a team at this point, I think you've got to back Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to back the depth of this roster. Queensland, the top end, certainly able to compete, but whether that top end is able to consistently be at that level when you've got a roster of 14 as fatigue starts to set in. We're in day 2. They had a couple of hard games yesterday. How much of that plays in, maybe not in this first half, but especially in this second half? Can players like Scott Perry and Jonah Malafant continue to run the offense by themselves? Maybe the decisive factor.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. And these teams are also battling against the jet lag as well. Many flew in on Thursday afternoon. Some of them late on Thursday night, ready for the games yesterday. But here we are, ready to start point number 3. Oh, layout grab there by Boyle. It's looking long, it's up in the air. We've got number 20 underneath it. Kusin brings it down for a score. That's Victoria rebuttaling with that one. We're 2-1 to Victoria.
What a shot. That's an almost identical throw to the previous goal for Victoria. A flat forehand down that far line into a pretty narrow channel. But Dan Cusson chases it down nicely, does a great job of getting there, and Lipari serves it up to him.
We can see that this has been part of Victoria's training schedule. If they've scored 2 goals in the same sort of fashion early in the game, I think they've been working on that this season.
Clearly that's their game plan. We saw the stall count get high early in that point. Boyle forced to make an athletic grab to maintain possession. But once they got the disc moving, they were able to fire from that primary under position. It seems like the strategy isn't necessarily to fire out of the handler role, but off the movement generated by the cutters. Obviously players like Boyle and Bissett more incapable of taking those shots, but they're happy for them to come off the movement and the momentum generated by the cuts of players like Lipari.
Got a few fans in the crowd. I'm not sure if the mic's picked up on that. We've got the Victorian fans sitting in the grandstand.
Queensland in their side stack play again as they find Max Murray-Young as he injects himself into this game. They look very disciplined in their pool plays so far, able to generate movement both times. Murray Goebel, his throw a little high, a little wayward, and he can't hit Travis McKay.
And it was intercepted there by Mogas. Now we've got Victoria on straight. We've got Kate Robinson with the disc. Nice little flick up the line on the close end. Sivanadam with the disc. Backhands far side. Heaps of space. Oh, we've got a pick called. Looking for a flick. It's in the back of the end zone. It might have gone too far.
Yeah, a fair bit of juice on that one from Wesley Flavelle. Got a little excited.
Tensions are already getting pretty hot. It's they both want it. You can hear from the sideline the coaches very into it. We've got Chloe McDonald coaching the Victorian team with Josh Pereira and Lachlan McDonald, all very experienced players themselves. And from the Victorian side, we've got Ronaldo Artega coaching.
Ronaldo coming from Canada, but what a block by Victoria.
I think that was Nathan Payne with that hand block. Beautiful. Victoria gets another go at it. We've got Waller behind the disc, the cupcake lookalike. All close. Couldn't hang on to it. We got the Queensland defender right in there.
Ryan McNaught right on the hip of Justin Mack. Not a whole lot of separation. Maybe a bit of a tight angle to throw into. And he does enough. Queensland get another chance. Almost another point block as Max Murray finds the disc. Now Perry. They're moving it well through the centre now. Hammond gets that one off. You can feel the pressure. Victoria's really starting to lock down. Murray thinks about it. Hammond again. That great pool play structure starting to break down a little. And another big fake without the disc in hand. Hammond still with the disc. Score count must be rising. He goes to the end zone. He's got players in pursuit, but it could be out the back.
Again, too much breakfast, too much into it. The Victorian fans are loving that. They know that Victoria's going to get another go at this one. Try and work it up the field. Are they going to do another long shot that we've seen a few of already? They'll be working into the wind. We've got kind of now Victoria is going upwind now, so we'll have to wait and see if we see any massive hugs. They've got to be well timed if you're playing against the wind as well.
We see Kate Robertson out there for Victoria. It's not something we see a lot, but it's worth noting that the men's division is actually Open's division, but that's a cheap turn in the back of the end zone following from some great pressure defense. Queensland will get it on the front of the end zone in a perfect spot to hold this offensive point. So after a few really clinical offensive points to get this game underway, this one has started to get a bit scrappy.
Queensland's looking to equalise with this one-shot pass, I reckon. Let's have a look.
Perry, too agile, too fast. Gets away from Wesley Flavelle.
That was some really great footwork by Perry to gain a bit of ground and score that goal. Here's the replay. Easy peasy from Queensland. And we were just talking before about Kate Robinson playing in the Open Division, Max.
Yeah. I know you had a chat with one of the Victorian coaches, Chloe McDonald, about it. What did you learn?
Well, Chloe McDonald was saying that Kate Robinson was really looking to challenge herself in this competition and thought that the Opens and the women's division had some great competition, but she really wanted to strive for excellence and really bring it up to the very top level that she can and play alongside the men in the men's division. Chloe McDonald said that Kate was feeling a little bit nervous as the season was going on, but she's ready to take it on, and she's really learning a lot in this team. A lot to learn from players who are, a foot and a half taller than her, very hard to defend, and she's doing really well. She's really holding her ground.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely saw her there pick up the disc off a static turnover, so they've clearly got faith and confidence in her, and she's clearly earned that through her play. Queensland in a bit of a zone junkie defense look, trying to change things up.
Some nice movement here by Victoria. Looking long and then coming back, dumping it to the handler. Over the top, no thank you. We've got Prendergast behind the disc. And Bissett, they're just looking pretty calm, I think. Oh, bit of a miscommunication there and just too far out in front. We're going to have Queensland back on strike.
And that is precisely what that defence is designed to do. Make them throw a lot of passes in small spaces, knowing that eventually the execution error will come.
Yeah, there must have been about 10 passes there, and the 11th one was the one that broke down.
So Jonah Malinfan, he has Joel Cook in the dump space, but he'll shoot straight to the end zone. And why not when you've got a player that open? What a grab by Kieran McCormick as he keeps his toes inside the white paint. And Queensland's put another one in the end zone.
That looks real nice.
And that's a break.
Oh, is it? Great. And Malinfant's a bit of a superstar for Queensland, isn't he, Max?
Oh, he is. He's an import from America. He's been playing the game since he's 14 years old, so a stack of experience, and you can see that in his throwing skill. I mean,
I think that shot was a really great option on the far side of the field, lots of space, and he placed it really well, close to the sideline, but he had the skill to make sure that it was still in the field.
And into the wind as well. That just makes that throw all the more difficult. It just requires so much control and technique in combination with raw power. There's plenty of throwers out there that have plenty of juice on their throws, but it's having that fine control when you're operating at long ranges in tough conditions that differentiates the really elite throwers.
Well, we're about to see Melon Fant pull. He's going downwind, so I'm sure it's going to have some gas on it. Here we go.
Victoria's O-line stays out there. They seem to have a pretty strict offensive-defensive split. Queensland, of course, with 14 players, don't have that luxury.
No, the Victorian side is much larger. Looks like Queensland's doing another sort of zone defense. Bissett with the disc. Victoria moving it quite nicely up through the middle of the field, looking pretty calm. I mean, it's sometimes nerve-wracking to have 3 defenders right in your face, but it looks like Queensland's keeping it real calm. We've got a hammer over the top by Trong. Nice one.
Josh Lapari finds Dan Cusson, and that is how you play zone offense. Mikey Trong takes the overhead shot when needed, but it was a great decision, opens things up for them. And really, once Victoria got moving, Queensland was playing catch-up the whole way up the field, not really able to slow them down at all.
That's how you play offense against the zone. Once you've moved the disc beyond the first wall of defenders, then you're sitting pretty. You've got 3 defenders out of the way. You've got all your offense options right there, and I think Victoria did a really good job of doing that. They just had a lot of quick passes. Stall count didn't get really beyond 5, I think, and that's how they made that space and were able to generate those options, I think. Looking really good by Victoria there.
Got defense out there for Victoria now. As I said before, they're pretty strict on their separation of lines, which is not necessarily always the case at this competition.
On the survey that the team filled out, the coach from Victoria said that they think that their D-line is the best in the competition. It's a big call. We'll see if they can convert it and score. We've got Lean here with the pull.
That's a big claim, though. There's some pretty elite defense floating around this tournament. New South Wales defensive unit also very formidable, but
yeah,
the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
We saw some great stuff from New South Wales yesterday, but here, Victoria versus Queensland.
Malenfant and Hammond doing the work at the back as they find their teammate on the far side, Will DeStefani. Malenfant again. Expect him to really play that every other role in this offensive unit.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the best and fairest medal, or the best and fairest prize for Ultimate, the MVP.
He's certainly put in a strong case so far. Surely that's a double team, a couple of players hugging DeStefani. And that's a strip call.
It looked like possibly the defender hit the disc while the offense still had control, hadn't let go of the disc. DeStefani behind on offense here.
He's marked by Chris Rabber, one of the real athletes on the Victorian line, capable of making some big defensive plays. We've seen them both this year and last year. He was a standout at this competition.
Yeah.
Malenfant, high release flick across the field. Shows his capability. On Simon Hammond.
Oh, we've got a call there.
He's a big boy and he takes a whole lot of hip and shoulder on that one. I think that's probably the right call on my first glance, but we'll have another look at it.
Here's the replay.
We do have game advisors attending as well, so we have a look as Simon Hammond goes up. Maybe not. That's close. Did he stop rotation on that disc before Mitch Graham got his hands on it?
He was ready to call a foul straight away, even before he landed.
Our game advisors, Jackson Bocce and Oliver Berry, will provide their services when needed, giving some clarification on the technicalities of the rule.
It's great to have the game advisors here offering an opinion. Of course, their opinion isn't binding. The players can choose to ask the game advisor's opinion if they can't reach a decision.
That's right. And it looks like that's what they're doing now. They're having a good old chat about it. And it looks like in that slow motion that he may have caught the Frisbee first, but it's where the rotation had fully stopped and he had control over a non-spinning disc. And it looks like it'll go back. It'll be contested. That's probably the right... The conversation drags on. And it'll be Kalen Prahalad who'll have another go.
Let's see if that's...
Oh, and he gets hand-blocked by Chris Rabber.
Nice one. Let's see if that self-proclaimed best D-line in the competition can convert, and let's get a goal from Victoria. Looking long, and now he's chosen to come back to the handler. Lean's got the disc, backhands. Oh, it's up in the air. Bit of a miscommunication, couldn't quite get the hands around that one. Halliday, unfortunate, but now we're going to see Queensland back on O.
Mark, the Shark Tuangthong on the mark. Prahalad on this near side. The Victorian zone putting a whole lot of pressure on Queensland. It's very tight. Sam Wong doing that important work on the point of the cup. Plays such a crucial role. Tuangthong puts a huge hit on Jonah Malenfant in that throw.
That's tight. It looked like we had McKay looking to come down with the goal, but there was a Victorian defender right in there. Oh, it's going back.
Josh Halliday was the Victorian who got a hand on that. And almost instantly they send it back.
So we've got Malenfant behind the disc.
He'll have another go at that one. And he is supported by Hammond at the back. Queensland running a lot of their play through Malenfant. Obviously, spectacular thrower, very experienced player, and also very athletic, and he's got length to support that. My question is, will this play style from Queensland become too predictable as they rely on him to do possibly too much?
The player is at the risk of burning out if you're relying on him for every fourth pass.
Hammond and Di Stefani playing catch. Now they include Prahalad in their little game. Just a couple of meters out on this near sideline. And they'll flip it to their teammate for the goal.
4-3 to Queensland. Great goal.
It's another scrappy point. Not the kind of champagne ultimate we saw at the start of this game.
Yeah, it seems like it's broken down. Max, why do you think that is?
Defensively, they've changed their look. They're not playing nearly as much match anymore.
No, we saw a lot of zone D in that last point.
And that just necessarily changes the pace of the game. And also changes the spaces available. So the deep shot, much more difficult to set up with an isolation in the deep space. With a player like Perry or Max Murray-Young, they're the two that they're been typically looking for in the deep space. But when you've got a zone defense, they're able to have double coverage back there, and it's a lot more difficult to generate that separation.
Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough conditions. It looks like both teams are really putting up a strong fight. So we've got the Victorian O-line coming out, ready to punch it in. Malenfant pulling again.
Chatting to Tom Bissett, the captain of this Victorian team, before this match, asked him, what this game meant to them, what were they trying to achieve, knowing that it's a repeat of last year's final and a lot of these players were in that match. And he said, they're not worried about that. They're focused on this competition, and for them, they've almost certainly got a spot in the semi-finals locked up. As they shoot long to Cusson.
It's up in the air.
Will he be the first there? No! Jonah Malenfant goes upstairs and comes down with the Frisbee.
Oh, he's lost his hat in the process as well. Great D.
So athletic, shows his ability defensively to add to the offensive firepower. Huge towering grab. Let's see if Melon fans' powers can continue to drive this Queensland offense upfield. He tears up line long way out in front.
The fans love that one. Victoria's back on strike. We've got Lipari behind the disc. Oh, looking for the hammer option here. Far side. Back to Prendergast. Looking pretty calm. Leanie's got the disc. Nice space options, I think, from Victoria in the end zone. It's a goal. Who scored that one?
Dan Cousin again. That's he's been getting a few of them for the Victorian team. That's his third goal on the trot. Blake Nichols getting himself on the stat sheet as well with a nice backhand assist.
Cousin's having a great game.
He is. He's a product of Curtin University, where he first brought his massive athleticism to the sport. But in recent times, it's been exciting to see him develop that athletic ability and couple it with some just really mature, intelligent offensive cutting, timing, and spacing. And you can see the results here. He's got 3 goals already in what's been a pretty short game.
Looks like he's been working really hard in the pre-season, in the training, coming up to this competition.
Oh, he's in great shape, no doubt about it. He's a candidate for under 24 Australian selection. He's been invited back to the second camp, so clearly a prospect many Australian Frisbee coach is excited about. Dan Cousin?
There's a few, the word is that there's a few scouts out and about this weekend looking for possible under 24 contenders, possibly looking to invite back some players that may have missed out if they really shine in this competition.
I know a lot of players are thinking about that. This is their kind of last chance to book themselves a ticket to that selection camp. So just in the back of the minds for some players that maybe felt hard done by or that felt they didn't have the best showing at the first camp.
It's important to not let that stress and anxiety get to you while you're trying to play a game.
Certainly, and it's the players that can handle that and still play well that really will shine. There's Max Murray with the disc. Hammond moves to the far side to Perry. Everyone immediately streams towards the end zone.
Looking long.
Prahalad. This is nice movement from Queensland, going sideline to sideline as they wait for the options to generate downfield. Prahalad. Hammond will have to provide the dump. Perry on the break side. The throw doesn't come. Stall count rises. Murray finally provides the release valve. He goes high release backhand over the top. And nicely done. Finds Kieran McCormick. He's been a key target for the Queensland men. He's got his third goal.
It's kind of been trading for this whole game. I think that Queensland got a break early on, but apart from that, it's pretty much been on strike. The O-line scoring every time. We had Queensland with this last score. Before that, Victoria. Before that, Queensland. Before that, Victoria.
And that's what you'd expect out of a tight match between two heavyweights in the men's division. Last year's finalists bringing back a lot of that experience and talent. You'd expect high-quality ultimate frisbee, and that's what we're getting. There have been some moments of scrappiness, some moments of chaos, but hey, it's under 22s. That's why we love it. That's what generates the excitement a lot of the time. As they say, on the every great catch comes from a pretty bad throw. So, expect to see more fireworks for the rest of this one.
Got the Queensland's looking to pull here. Victorian O-line. Looking calm, as always. I think that Queensland's put in a zone D. It worked pretty well for them last time. It generated a couple of turnovers. Wow, Victoria's doing really well, looking calm. Great options, I think. Great space. We've got Boyle behind the disc going over the top. finds his player. Is it ready for another score? We've got Leany behind the disc, looking into the end zone. Is he going to do it? He swings it over to Lipari. We've got a call here.
Fair bit of hip and shoulder on Dan Cusson there. He's a solid boy, but so is Ben Myatt from Queensland.
Is Lipari going to score with this one? He's looking behind. Lipari again with the disc, over the top. Brings it down for another score for Victoria.
And Josh Lipari racking up the assists as he finds Damon Prendergast in the back corner. He's got a hat-trick of assists so far this match.
Great goal. Great goal. Looking really calm. There was that call on the front of the end zone. Some players might get rattled by that, but it looks like Lipari really kept his head, didn't get too frazzled about it, and was ready to play. Over the top with that hammer shot. What do you think about that?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We saw Tom Boyles throw one early in that point, and then we saw Josh Lipari fire one for the goal. Love him. In this really light wind, it's great.
More of it, you think?
Absolutely. And clearly these boys have the ability to make those throws. I think too often in Ultimate the conventional wisdom is hammers are necessarily a risky option. I think they're often risky because people don't practice them. You know, you'd go out, and a lot of these players will go out and do throwing sets, and they'll throw 50 backhands, 50 forehands, and they'll finish with 10 hammers. And they wonder why their hammers aren't as good as their flicks or their backhands.
You don't want to be that player that throws a hammer and it doesn't come off, though.
No, exactly. And the way to fix that is to practice them more, I think. You know, you've got to put in the hours, you've got to put in the time, you've got to put in the reps. And clearly Tom Boyle and Josh Lipari have done just that. And they throw pinpoint hammers for goals and for gainers.
Yeah.
Queensland will go the other way now.
Nice hang time on that, Paul. Plenty of time for the Victorian D-line to come up and set their defensive structure.
Jonah Malenfant through the centre to Mariung. High release backhand gets a hand on it from the mark, and Prahala can't dig it out of the ground.
We got Payne behind the disc. Throws a little backhand. Nice movement to lean. Oh, doesn't quite come off in the end zone. Bit of a miscommunication there, I think. But so they've got to come back on for defense now, Victoria.
Shoots for Sam Wong, but he's speedy, but he can't track that one down. It's a little far beyond his reach.
Asking too much.
Jonah Malenfant now starting behind the disc. Earlier in this point, he started downfield, but instead just shoots it long to Scott Perry, and why not? What a throw, what a receiver. With separation, does he hop it in?
Is that in?
End zone to end zone. It doesn't get any better than that.
Very nice. He saw the option and he just took it straight away. Oh, there's a call made. Unfortunately, great play, very big play, but we've had a call on the field. Looked like there was a bit of contact when it came down.
Or are they deciding if he'd actually landed in?
Oh.
I thought the catch was very clean. We'll have another look at this. Malenfant walks up to the line and just sends it. Puts that disc in a box. FedExes it to the end zone. Perry. The question is, had he taken off yet? And maybe that's fair. It doesn't look like his back foot had come off the ground when he caught it. And they will have the discussion with the game advisors out there as well.
Yeah, the players have asked the game advisor's opinion for that.
And they'll take over the portable replay.
Not quite in time. Looks like the goal stands.
The goal will stand.
It was very close though, Max.
You can understand the difficulty of knowing that in real time. But it does look like his foot was still on the ground when he caught the disc. He hadn't quite taken off yet. So it wasn't quite a goal. But obviously, in Ultimate, if the players all accept it, they're happy to go with it. And it doesn't take away from what an incredible throw that was from Jonah Malenfant. I mean, what goes into a throw like that, end zone to end zone forehand?
Sometimes a bit of aggression, a bit of frustration, and you just want to put it to get some space, and that's an option. Or, on the other hand, it's a well-timed shot, really thought out. You see your players sitting deep, you see them. You know that your offensive player has the guts to put it in there. You know that they've got the legs, that they're really fit players, and you put it in. You've done a massive shot. It's hard to know what he was thinking, if it was a panic throw or if it was a well-timed shot.
I've got to think it's the second one. My vote is in the second category. Malenfant's a class player and shows that right there with just a humongous throw. So much power and precision. Makes it look easy.
You saw the way that pool kind of curved around. I think the wind has picked up a little bit in this game. We've got Victoria on strike. Lipari behind the disc, looking long. He's going to swing it. Over to Boyle in the flap cap. It's a strong look. Trong behind the disc. Of course, he's a 2018 blue bottle.
There's a few of them on this team. Josh Lipari with the disc now, also a member of that fourth place team in Perth just a few months ago.
Oh, moving up to knocking on the door, and is it going to come off? Yes, it has. We've got Bissett with the goal.
Tom Bissett gets another. That's his second goal for the game.
Celebrates with a kick spike.
And Ryan Leaney threw that for a lovely little score.
I think that might have been a break. Oh, no, it wasn't a break. We've been trading still.
Bissett, a product of Ballarat.
Wonderful place.
In Victoria. Beautiful, beautiful city. If you haven't been there, put it on your itinerary. Get along there. Take some annual leave. It's worth it. It's the only place I've ever seen spiders fall from the sky.
Oh, my God. What a nightmare.
Yeah, it's actually very true. It's 2016 Nationals, and it was really, really windy. And they have these tiny spiders down there that, for whatever reason, to breed or something, to move around, I think they climb trees or something and then swing off webs and then let themselves get taken in the breeze and just float through the skies, dragging their webs behind them. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. We were playing a game of Ultimate and we came off the field and our bags were covered in spider webs.
Oh, my gosh.
And spiders that had flown down from the sky.
That sounds like a place of nightmares.
Oh, it is.
Didn't see anything of that. Didn't see anything like that at Mixed Nationals in Ballarat about 3 weeks ago.
No, to be fair, it was very nice then. These Queenslanders, though, enjoying the Perth weather. It's been lovely.
We had Hammond with that throw there. He's having a great game, isn't he?
He is. He's probably one of the less well-known players on this Queensland team, but one that I'm really enjoying watch.
Yeah, me too. He's having a really good game. He's having a lot of disc time, looking like a really strong handler.
And really calm and collected. You know, he knows he's got the players around him that are going to take the big shots.
I think we just jinxed him.
I did. That's commentator's curse, if ever I've seen it.
We got Kate Robinson coming up to the disc. Another blue bottle. We were just talking about them before. Shoots it into the end zone. Oh!
Huge bid from Max Mariung. Goes fully horizontal at chest height.
Great D. Oh, love to see that.
Flies from nowhere, launched out of a cannon.
I really thought that goal was going to do it, that it was going to stand, but the Victorian defender got right in there.
Max Murray sucks the gravity out of the stadium with that huge play.
Here's the replay.
Take another
Robbo
look.
with the disc.
You can see why she threw it. So much separation.
Yeah. Oh.
Doesn't get any better than that, and they go immediately back the other way looking for Scott Perry. He's been absolutely unguardable going deep. He's just so quick.
So
Murray
quick.
Goebel, Prahalad, and he finds Murray Goebel. Taps it. Mariung can't recover.
Just on the end of the fingers, couldn't hang on to it. This is an exciting point, I'll tell you what.
Fireworks from both teams.
Strong behind the disc. Nice movement. Oh, And again, on the end of the fingers, couldn't hang on to it. Unfortunately, bit of a drop there by Blake Nichols.
Yeah, the throw just a little bit behind him, not where he wanted it in stride. And Hammond will now have to inject that calm that I was talking about before. He knows he's got shooters around him. He just needs to be the rock that makes it happen. Perry heads to the end zone. Where else? And Hammond delivers the flick. It's going to float. It's going to hang. There's two underneath it.
A lot of hang time. I think there was 3 underneath it, and it just a bit of a missed time. Players are certainly getting frustrated in this point. There's been a few shots into the end zone and a few big up-in-the-air ones. It's very important to stay calm, take a breath, and just play Frisbee. Flavel behind the disc goes back. Big backhand fake. Robinson manages to hang on to it. Nice one on the flick side. Eaten up there by the defender, Perry.
That inside break by Robinson, just a touch too much hang time. If she'd managed to zip it onto his chest, you imagine that would have been an easy completion, but just too much float, leading to too much hang time, and Scott Perry allowing himself to get involved. Hammond with the disc. Murray Goebel sticks out the right hand and holds on to that. You see the kind of margins for error, the small windows that Queensland is being forced to operate in by the tight, stifling Victorian defence. Wesley Flavel on Simon Hammond.
I thought Hammond was going to do it onto that far side.
Murray, things start to slow down. Options dry up.
There it
and
is.
When options dry up, Scott Perry goes to work. When you're that fast, it can be that simple. You run at the front corner of the end zone and you leave the defenders in the dust.
7-6 to Queensland.
Queensland in the driver's seat of this match.
What a great point. There was a couple of shots into both end zones. Queensland managed to do it in the end. Knocking on the door in the Victorian end, knocking on the door in the Queensland end. It goes back, it goes up again. Great point. I love seeing that.
Beautiful play from both teams. What stands out to me from that point was the small margins for the error and the narrow windows that both teams are being forced to play into. The defense is stifling every pass, putting so much pressure that these players are really having to play at the edges of their capability. And that's what we love about this high-level national competition.
Yeah, great. I think that that's a fair comment, Max. There was really great defense in that last point.
Incredible play by Max Murray in particular. Huge block down in this end zone. What does it do to a team when your teammate makes a huge play like that?
Fills you full of confidence, and it makes you think, if you're not the person cutting for it that first time, you think, my teammate has definitely got it. I'm going to cut deep. I'm going to do a massive run next time so I can go score it, because I know that my teammate's got that throw in the bank. So we've got Victoria slowly working it up, looking over the top. A hammer fake. Boyle with the disc. He's going back to Lipari there. Very calm player, Lipari. Over here to Prendergast. They're losing a bit of ground, staying in the deep space here, in the underspace. Just really passing it back and forth really slowly. It looks like it's a puppy cup structure defense by Queensland. What do you reckon?
Yeah, and they're happy to swing it and make the front line of defence work hard, and they shoot to the end zone.
Up in the air, throw by Cussin, and it's brought down.
Damon Prendergast, too far out in front for Max Murray to inject himself into that play.
Wow, we've just been trading back and forth this whole game. It's 7-all. The next point will determine who takes half.
Galaxy point, as they say.
Wow, great play, massive grab. He got pretty high.
He did. He knew he had Murray coming in from behind. Max Murray, one of the premier aerial defenders on the field in this match. So he knew he had to go up early and go up strong, and he does just that.
Great jump, look at that. And I love the way that he swiped it. I think that shows really good offense. Because if you don't have a good hand on the disc, the defender could still get in there and slap it away. I think it's a great option for the offense to take the disc high, rip it down very fast, so there's no chance that the defender can get in there.
Now, I need to ask something. We've got Tom Bissett leading this Victorian team, and he sports a mullet.
Oh.
The hairstyle is, you know, iconic.
Iconic. Some say beautiful. Some say the mullet's just misunderstood.
The misunderstood mullet of Tom Bissett. Can someone please turn that into an Instagram account or a meme page? Tom Bissett's misunderstood mullet.
I love that. I'd follow.
Worth a follow, worth a like. Get around it.
Not as good as the Hoss haircuts at the Worlds competition. They all were sporting that football player's haircut. Dusty's haircut. They shaved above the ears. Not sure if any of these players played on that Hoss Worlds team. I think we had Sam Wong, who played Hoss Carnage this year, but I don't think he was on the World Clubs team.
No, it was Jonah Malenfant. Pushes that one a little far. He had his favoured receiver, Scott Perry, heading towards the end zone, and maybe gave in to temptation a little bit.
We were talking before that if you're relying on that one player too much, they're at the risk of burning out. Do you think that was a example of that, Max?
I think that was more a case of the handler or the thrower in Jonah Malenfant relying too much or having eyes only for one receiver.
Ah, right.
Has so much faith in Scott Perry. And, I mean, it's well-founded faith. He's an amazing athlete and exceptional offensive player, but in that situation, the option just wasn't the best.
No.
It was a very narrow channel he had to throw into, right down the sideline.
Yeah, and it went out. So we've got Lean behind the disc. Flick set to the underside. We've got Rabba looking over. And Mitch Graham up in the air.
Rabbit throws it, it's going to float.
Oh,
Simon Hammond.
Halliday was there. It looked so good, and Hammond just came in for the D.
Big right paw, knocks it out of the sky. Does beautiful work putting it out the back, and he'll have to bring it back up as well. Queensland in their favoured split stack. I'd put big money on Malenfant coming under early with Perry going deep. There it is. Malenfant comes under. The pass comes. Goebbels is heading to the end zone. The shot doesn't follow, though, as Perry provides it underneath.
He reels it into that one.
And Hammond takes the shot.
Definitely a bad option. There was no one there. I mean, it looked good, but there was no cutters in that space.
I think it was probably intended for Will Di Stefani, but as you say, definitely not into the space where the cutter was heading.
He just turned at the wrong spot. So we've got Lean again. He looks like he's often the player picking up the disc when Victoria's on strike. Nice one over to Rabba on the far sideline. Flicks it like a floaty one up in the air. Into the end zone. It's pretty low. I think that was a poorly timed flick.
Dan Cussum was in the vicinity. Rowan Savannandam was in the vicinity, but he wasn't able to dig it out of the turf despite the athletic bid.
Got to go back to training. I think that throw was just too low for the offense to pick up in the end zone.
A little rushed. It felt not quite as balanced as Sam Wong would like to be as he released that throw.
Now we've got Hammond coming up with the disc again.
Victoria doing a great job of sagging into the central cutting lane, narrowing the angles that Queensland has to shoot into. Malenfant goes long. Perry's in the vicinity, as is Goebbels, but Scott Perry goes early! Gets a fingertip, but can't pull it in.
There was too many cooks spoiling the broth there.
A lot of players underneath it. And the more players underneath it, you feel like it always favours defence.
Sometimes the two offense players end up defending each other, and then no one catches it. That can be avoided with some communication, I think. Lean again, starting with the disc. That seems like it's the favoured play start from Victoria. Bit over the top, eaten up.
Goebel Malinfan, he'll shoot to the fat side. No one there.
No one there.
Absolutely no one there.
No one there. Now we've got Victoria back on for offense. This is their O-line, I think.
It's actually the Victorian D-line, I
Oh, is
believe.
it?
Queensland had the opportunity to hold for half.
Right, we've got Payne behind the disc. Swings it. Up the line here to Savannah Dam. Nice one by Payne. He's looking into the middle of the field here. Halliday. Couple of high-ish stall counts there. Savannah Dam flicks it. Looking into the end zone. Is it up? Ah, straight into the Queensland player, but it's still up. Victoria's still on offense.
Prahalad got a big hand on it, but it just bobbled down to Chris Rabber. But
And
Murray Goebel, the no-look block is... They look like advantage of the face mark.
wow.
And now Queensland will get some offensive opportunity once again.
They're kind of beginning the play slowly, letting everybody set up. Maybe a vertical stack, I think, from Queensland.
Yeah, they've changed their structure. Earlier, preferring the split stack. Now they go to the vertical.
Are we going to see a big shot here?
Prahalad is open underneath. Malinfan instead goes backhand to the fat side. Eyes for Perry. Perry has to go up and take a lot of contact from Mitch Graham coming from behind. Quick uncontested. He knows he knocked that out of Perry's hands.
Great communication. We love to see good...
And Simon Hammond has steps deep at the back of stack.
Oh, is he going to do it?
They'll discuss the positions of the players. And Hammond looks like he wants the end zone look.
The coach is calling. The coach is calling for Jonah to have the disc. Oh, hangs on to it.
Prahalad. Malinfan at the front of stack. Goebel behind, but instead, the little flip. Perry doesn't leave his feet, too far out in front. That Perry-Graham matchup, an interesting one. Both players hoping to play for Australia in the under-24 division.
I think that Malinfant played for... Oh, no, he didn't. Never mind. Up in the air.
To the end zone.
Ooh.
Rowan Savannah-Dam just outside. Lefty backhand. Mitch Graham takes half.
Well done, Victoria taking half. That was a great point. There was couple of big turns, couple of miscommunications. Wow, well done. Here it is, up in the air, brought down. Oh, that was Savannah Dam falling there on the front of the end zone line. He's got to come back to the front of the line to take that shot.
Defense had done everything right. Kalen Prahalad making life difficult for him. But then the easy as you like it. Lefty backhand to Graham, who's as he should be. And as the players hit the half, so will we. Don't go anywhere as we come back to you with more action from the Australian Under-22 Ultimate Championships.
Hi, welcome back. We're finished the halftime break between the Victorian men's and Queensland men's game at the Under-22 Championships in beautiful Perth. It's a nice warm morning here. We've seen a really great start to the game. We've seen a really tight game. The score stands at 7-8. Victoria was just able to take that half at the end there. Both teams have had a little break now, ready to come in for the second half. And we're really excited to see what will happen, Max.
We are indeed. This is a replay of last year's men's final, and you can see why when there's this level of quality and ability and athleticism across the board from both of these teams. It's been so tight all the way through the first half. Queensland got an early break to trade up, and then Victoria right at the end broke to take half, 8-7.
But apart from that, it's been very tight that whole game. Really some really high plays, some really big shots. Both of these teams are looking long, seeing some nice long shots. We're going to see Queensland come out on strike. I heard Jonah Malenfant having a bit of a chat to the team, kind of advising them. He's one of the most experienced players on the Queensland side, and he was kind of advising them on just really got to stay confident and really got to work hard to try and get that game over the line for Queensland. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, they'll have to work all the way to the end, and they did it yesterday when they took down New South Wales on Universe Point. Malenfant expressed to Scott Perry. Who else? And what a grab as he goes up and finds the wide open Joel Cook on the near side for the goal. But what a grab by Scott Perry.
A quick point. We saw that at the very beginning of the game. We saw a score in the first minute, and we've come out of halftime. Another score in the first minute. Here's the replay. Massive flick, up in the air, nice and floaty. I thought the defender was going to get it. He was pretty close.
It's in good position.
Nice one, and eaten up there by Cook.
The interesting thing about that is, you know, Victoria have a very experienced, intelligent coaching staff. Chloe McDonald and her brother Lachlan McDonald, joined by Josh Pereira. Very experienced players. They've played huge amounts, coached across a number of different levels.
Yeah, Chloe McDonald has coached the Blue Bottles this year. They ended up coming fourth at the Under-24s Championships in this beautiful town, Perth. And she's also coached the women's Melbourne Phoenix and Southern Terror. Massive.
And all of that, and they can't figure out a way to stop Jonah Malenfant punting it to Scott Perry. I mean, it's no secret that's what Queensland want to do. And it shows just how good they are that it's so difficult to stop.
It's a simple strategy, right? But I think it's really worthwhile. You want to give the disc to your strongest players. They're the most confident. Oh, we've got a turnover there right near the end zone line.
Joel Cook puts up the left arm and denies Victoria the opportunity as they look to break back early in this second half. Malenfant with the disc on the end zone line. Who else? Scott Perry at the front of stack. Who else? What a connection. So difficult to stop.
Malenfant to Perry. How many times have we seen that today?
Well, Malenfant's now got his 5th assist, and Perry has got his 6th goal, so
Wow.
definitely a few times. And it's now 9-8 to Queensland. As they come out in the second half strong. Victoria, maybe a little flat out of half, making a simple decision-making error, really, there to give away the cheap turn.
So Queensland's got a break then. Now they're up.
They are indeed. They're in the driver's seat. The ball's in Victoria's court if they want to come back.
How do you think Victoria can get up over Queensland here? How do you think they can do it and kind of bring the offense from good to excellent?
I think their offense hasn't been the problem. Victoria's offense only been broken twice this match. Pretty reliable. They've taken the deep shots when they're there. They've got excellent ability to play patient when they have to. I think defensively, though, that's where they need to adjust.
Right, and then get those conversions, play a little more aggressive defense and get those swipes in to get the D.
Absolutely. They need to find a way to shut down Jonah Malenfant. It's that simple. And I think you've got to get players like that, obviously class players, capable of making it happen regardless of what you do. But you've got to make them look to their second, third and fourth options. You can't give them their preferred option every time. We know Malenfant loves his flick. You've just got to take it away. You've got to make him throw something else or have to think about it twice before throwing it.
We've got Victoria looking really good. Queensland set up that defensive zone. Leaning with the disc, looking around. He's got a lot of movement. Still managing to keep that pivot foot. Oh, knocking on the door. Are we going to see another goal here from Victoria? Back to the Thunder player. So lean, Thunder over the top. Is it going to come down? They've done it again. Victoria rebuttal with that one. Bring another score. Well done. Who was that with the score? We had
Tom Bissett.
Bissett, the captain of Victoria, in the orange flat cap.
Tom Boyle to Tom Bissett. Boyle coming off a very successful under-20s campaign for Australia with Aussie Thunder. Their leading assist thrower for that tournament.
The notes in our that the coach filled out said that captain Tom Bissett really inspires the team and really lifts them up, and he's got a lot of positive affirmations to say and really supports the team. He's doing a great job as a captain this season.
And that kind of leadership is so important in tough games like this, providing the mental platform from which you can build all of your on-field performance.
Right, the physical game and the mental game combined.
Josh Pereira, JP23, providing some last words of wisdom to his troops as they'll have to play some defense now. Got Mark the Shark Tuang Thong on the field for Victoria, sporting those fluoro socks. He'll come down and attempt to use his athleticism and froth to great effect.
He's a fast defender. Look, there he is leading the defenders out there. He might be running up to the disc, I think.
And that's why they call him Mark the Shark.
Is that the only reason?
I honestly don't know. Murray Ung finds Hammond. They'll play this little pop style through the zone as they have all game. Murray Ung now. The Cubs force them onto this near side, and Hammond breaks out with a scuba over the top to Goebel. He'll take the give-go as they pass the brick mark. They're now 15 yards, 10 yards. Hammond thinks about faking the hammer without the disc in his hand.
He's done a few of those. I love to see it.
Murray Ung. Defense shuts down. Crossfield hammer.
Oh!
And Mitch Graham doesn't actually get a touch on it, but does enough to distract Will Di Stefani. And it goes straight through the arms. And he can't hold on.
James Lean's coming up to the disc. Walking it up. The offense is looking to just start their structure. It looks like the Victorian offense is set up in a kind of horizontal structure. He's brought it back over to Kate Robinson. Handler finds a gap there. Payne with the disc. In the middle, there was a big dive there by Perry, and there's been a call. Looks like there was a bit of a bump there between Mark Tuang Thong and Scott Perry, I think.
Take another look at this. Sam Wong dishes it backwards. Then the pass comes forwards. Perry, that's a pretty clean block by the look of it on that angle.
We'll have to see what the players thought.
The Shark clearly not happy with the level of contact. Take it out. But Mark the Shark sitting on the ground.
He feels like there was some injustice.
We'll get another replay so that they can have a look at it.
Oh, they're bringing in the replay so that both players can have a little look at it.
That looks clean from here, I'll be honest.
You're looking
on
at
that
it
angle.
on the screen as well. The players are just revisiting this, having a bit of a chat. The game advisor's being sought his opinion. Jackson Budge.
Can we get it again? Can we get that replay again? Because yeah, here we go again. We'll get another look.
It's tight though.
And we'll have a look. Perry, to be perfectly honest, I see daylight between Scott Perry's hips and Mark the Shark.
It looks like the disc was hit, and then after the disc went past the players, then there was a bit of contact. It's very hard to tell though. It's pretty close. It looks like the disc is going back to Victoria, so that there was a contested foul, it must have looked like.
But I guess that's how it's been decided, and play will restart.
Payne's got the disc. It looks like there was a foul made there.
Murray Goebel stuck out his hand. Payne saying it's a foul. It's uncontested.
Right. Robinson with the disc. Lean's got the disc. Looking long, looking back to pass it to a handler again. Over the top. Hammers. We've seen a few of those this game. Bit of a leg bump there from Justin Mack. Haven't seen too much of him on the field. Couldn't quite get the hands around that one.
Hammond marked by Robertson. There's a real length disparity. We'll see whether Hammond can use that to break the mark. Stall count rises as Murray finds it. And to Scott Perry. He's human. He bleeds. Scott Perry will call a foul as he feels like the favour's been returned by Mark the Shark Tuang Thong. They'll discuss. Looks like it's uncontested. Maybe a little bump in the back as Perry was going in to catch it. He'll restart play about 6 metres out from the end zone.
One shot into the end zone. Are they going to do it? Or looking to pass it to the handler. It's in the end zone.
Hammond.
Brought down by Hammond. Very nice. There was a few calls in that last point, but it looked like the players were able to discuss very calmly, very politely. It's an important part of Ultimate because, of course, the players are responsible for holding up the integrity of the sport, holding up the integrity of the rules themselves. And the game advisors are around to offer an opinion if asked, but their decision isn't binding.
Talking about holding things up, Scott Perry is holding up this Queensland offense. He has 6 goals, count them 6 goals, and now an assist to his name. The man can do everything. He can do no wrong. Scott Perry racking up the stats.
Yeah, he's having a great game.
Hell of a game he has indeed. But he'll have to keep performing at that level.
Got to keep pushing, got to keep the foot on the accelerator. So we're going to see the O-line from Victoria coming out. Looking real good. We're going to see if Queensland's going to try to get in there. Going to try and shut down those options early. Get the conversion. We've got the Thunder player over the top to Bissett. They've had a few really good connections, those two. Oh, that was a good sniff at it. Lipari, back to Lipari. Is that Mark the Shark with the disc?
That was Mikey Trong.
That was Mikey Trong.
But Murray cuts it out. Joel Cook fakes the big backhand. He's had a quiet one. Unusual for Cook. He'll play give-go with Malinfant. Instead, opts to come back to the centre to Hutchinson. Comes near side to DeStefani now. Malinfant, 6 metres out. High release forehand, inside out. Dan Cusson eats that for breakfast.
Dan Cusson, great D. walks it up to the front of the end zone line. Looking to the handler. It's a nerve-wracking place to be. You don't want to get, you're in Callahan territory. Oh, there's been an injury call.
Simon Hammond clutching at his baby cow, maybe, his calf. Maybe a little cramp.
He's got the band around his knee. Might be a kind of longer term injury. He's coming off injured. We've got Murray Goebel coming on to take his place.
Mikey Trong with the disc. As you say, deep in Callahan country at the back of his own end zone.
Michael Trong, also from the Blue Bottles 2018 campaign. Prendergast with the disc. Back to Bissett.
Oh, Cusson was going deep with steps, but Boyle didn't look up.
Prendergast got the disc again. Not really looking long. It looks like the handlers are looking to just do some little give and go, little ones here. Lipari and then back to Boyle. Boyle, the Thunder player, like I mentioned before.
There's a couple of those on this team. Damon Prendergast and Blake Nichols, also Thunder players.
Damon Prendergast had a great season with the Thunder. Boyle's got the disc. Lots of short passes. This has probably been a 20 pass point. There it is, making it look really easy. The goal is brought down by Michael Trong, the Blue Bottle. That was a lot of passes, maybe even 30 passes in that one. I think that it's a sort of different style to what we've been seeing earlier, because earlier in the game there was some massive shots. That was kind of what we saw most of the players doing. And then this last point from Victoria, obviously the coach has had a bit of a chat to them. Looks like Josh Pereira's gotten in there and advised them on their offense to just take some short options, and it's really paid off. It was really good. I think there was Cusson did that deep cut, brought a defender out of there, and then there was able to generate a lot of small passes under the disc. Got the goal.
Really disciplined offense. Saw a couple of the senior players start to assert themselves a little more. Lipari, Tronga, and Boyle combining for a bulk of the touches at that point.
What a powerhouse, those three together. Really great players.
Such explosiveness, particularly in Trong and Lipari, combined with some serious throwing prowess and length added by Boyle. It's now 10 apiece with only 4 minutes to go.
Oh, wow, is that all?
So time cap rapidly approaching.
What a tight game. It's just been trading non-stop. There's only been 3 breaks in this whole game. Time is of the essence. If you want to get up and over, it's got to be some quick plays now to try and win the game.
Malinfant, Murray heads towards the end zone. The shot doesn't come. Will DiStefani instead. Victoria play the zone now as well. Both teams liking the zone looks. Cook fires one down the line. Perry has to lay out to try and keep it in.
But it was way OB.
And Perry not even able to touch it, which means the disc will come back to where it was thrown. It never came into the field.
Like we mentioned before, 10 all. We've got Cupcake's #1 fan behind the disc. His name's Chris Waller. Up into the end zone. Any offense there? Couldn't quite get the connection. It's a big look.
Wesley Flavelle and Sam Wong were both heading deep.
They didn't quite get the timing right though.
And Cook gets things moving quickly. Goebel, Murray playing catch on this near side. DiStefani comes through the cup. Malinfant just waits in the center. He'll provide the outlet when they need it, but he's comfortable letting them play for easy meters early. Attacks that one as it floats. Cook on this far side. March it up the center. DiStefani, Victoria. They're trailing a lot of their players. Fatigue starting to be a factor late in this match. Surprising considering they've got the bigger roster. The Queensland players clearly haven't skimped on their athletic conditioning. Mariong takes a bit of contact on the mark. Malinfant finds Mariong for the goal. Queensland go back the other way, and a pretty similar display of discipline own offense.
So it's now 11-10 to Queensland. They've just got up over Victoria. What a tight game.
It certainly is, Steph. Expected when I saw this game on the schedule as the first game on day 2. I knew this would be one to watch, one not to miss. Both of these teams digging deep into the tank, going into the red zone for this, really selling out. Because they know if Queensland can lock this one up, they've secured themselves top of the table almost certainly, which will give them a nicer path through to the finals. Will give them the slightly easier semi-final. Victoria equally wanting a better crossover matchup if they can win this. If they win this, there'll be an interesting 3-way tie at the top of the men's pool.
Oh, right.
Between these two teams and New South Wales.
There's been some really tight games between all three of those. The men's division is really tight all the way around, I think, actually.
It really is. I mean, Victoria come into this 2-1, 2 wins and a single loss. Their loss coming to New South Wales, but their wins over WA and ACT relatively tight, only by a few points each. And likewise, Queensland come in undefeated, having beaten New South Wales, South Australia and ACT.
It's so much more enjoyable to watch when it's a tight game. You know, you really get to see the players trying to play at their best. When it's a whitewash and it's one team's up over the other by 10 points, it's, you know, not really, I know, unless you're supporting the winning side, it's not as exciting. But I love to see a tight game. It really shows the great players from the elite players.
Certainly does. Queensland persisting with this zone look.
Boyle over to Lipari on the close sideline. He's going to go back to Boyle here. Back to Trung. And Queensland's got that zone D structure. Oh, through the middle there was a bit of a gap. He's found Mac. Lipari's done a thrower initiated. Found Prendergast. Tom Boyle's got the disc again. Plenty of touches in this point. Oh, they're very close to the end zone. Is Victoria about to do it? About to equalise? Boyle's put it up. There it is. Easy goal. Just made it look so simple. Victoria's just equalised. We're 11 apiece.
It is indeed. And according to our clock, time cap went. I'm not sure if we heard the hooter. The hooter did go during that last point. We've got confirmation before that goal was caught, which means we will now add one to the highest score and play to that. It's Universe Point, ladies and gentlemen. It's game to 12.
What a way to begin Saturday morning games. So exciting. Universe Point, 11 all. So the winner will be who scores this next point.
It certainly will. Queensland will be on offense for Universe. Victoria, they bragged about having the best D-line in this competition. The question is, can it step up when it's needed most? The do-or-die moment is now for Victoria. If they want to secure themselves the preferable semi-final crossover, they need to win this point. They need to stop right now.
You've got to put your A-line on. You've got to put your absolute crunch line on, your best players. So I think that we're probably going to see all of the national reps on for this point. We've got 2 Thunder players from Victoria on and 3 Blue Bottles. But not all of them are on the field, actually.
No, interestingly.
No.
We've got Lipari out there.
He's a Blue Bottle.
Maybe the sole Aussie rep on this line for Victoria. They're having faith in their systems and in their structures. Lipari, the only player coming across.
It's a rolling pull. Wow. Here we go. We're about to see the winners made. We've got Hammond back on the field after he went off injured earlier. I think he had a bit of a calf cramp, but he's back on. Donned a headband and he's ready to go.
As they move it up the field through the centre. Joel Cook provides the next option with the eye black underneath his eyes. Stops the glare. Doesn't like the physical attention he's receiving on the mark. From Mark the Shark. Di Stefani, high release flick into the centre. They move it to find Hammond. Not a lot of pressure. They're able to get easy passes the whole time. Murray Young finds the gap through the centre. Will Di Stefani wraps it up, and that's the game.
That's game.
It's Queensland run away with it in the end to take it on Universe 12-11.
What a game.
We've seen some wonderful structures. We've seen some really top-level athleticism. Queensland are stoked to take that game with the universe point. I mean, that's a sweet victory.
Oh, it's massive for them. It means they've locked up almost certainly top of the pool. They've given themselves the preferable semi-final crossover as the first seed will meet the fourth seed. And more importantly than that, perhaps, they exact some revenge for their loss in the final 12 months ago.
Here's a replay of that last point there. I mean, loads of space by that Queensland offense.
Yeah, the zone
found the gap and
just wasn't shutting it out.
He just stepped over that end zone line for the goal. The Victorian defenders couldn't get in there.
And with that, game is over. Thank you very much for joining us, but don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more great ultimate action coming to you from the Australian Under-22 Ultimate Championships here in Perth. I've been Max Stenstrom. I've been joined in the booth by Steph Ma. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Alti.tv